Breaking now at noon, a man considered so dangerous, police stormed his house and ended up shooting him. But now he's back on the run. We're asking why he was able to get out of the hospital without going to jail.
And more rain pushing into our area this afternoon, and this pattern far from over. We'll time out how much rain you'll see in your area coming up.
Plus, we are live outside of the Gaston County Jail, anticipating the release of a man convicted of murdering a UNC Charlotte student just one day after the judge ordered a new trial. And we are remembering the valor of D-Day on this historic anniversary of the military invasion that changed the course of World War II. You're watching Eyewitness News at noon. We start with that breaking news. A man shot by deputies in Burke County just walked out of the hospital and police can't find him. 2 weeks ago, SWAT teams swarmed a Burke County neighborhood looking for this man, Johnny Kaler, and they ended up shooting him in his bed. Officers used a special warrant on Airport Rodas Road looking for a large stash of drugs. Channel 9's Dave Faraday is live in Burke County for that manhunt. Dave?
Brittany, if you look behind me, right over there at the back of the mobile home park, you can see that brown mobile home there. That is the home that the SWAT team went in. I'm told by deputies when they got inside, the suspect was actually in the bed. He had his hands under the covers. He wouldn't pull his hands out, and when he made a sudden movement, that is when the deputy fired his gun. Take a look at some of this video right here. They are looking for Johnny Kaler this midday. He was airlifted to the hospital with serious injuries 2 weeks ago. Deputies say they later found a handgun next to his bed along with drugs. They say they got the no-knock search warrant because Kaler was known to have firearms. The sheriff's office says on Monday of this week, Kaler left the hospital on his own without a medical release. Deputies say they were supposed to be notified, but Kaler didn't tell the hospital he was leaving. We went to his home today, but no one answered. Neighbors here are so worried that they asked we not show their face when we did an interview with them earlier.
I can't believe he just walked out of the hospital. They didn't even release him or anything. And I know he couldn't have walked from there to here. So he had to have somebody there to pick him up.
And deputies are telling us right now that they have several warrants for his arrest, including some drug warrants from trafficking opium to trafficking methamphetamine. They say those drugs were found inside the mobile home behind me, along with that firearm. They say that Kaler should be considered armed and dangerous. They're actively searching for him, Brittany, this midday. Back to you.
Dave Faraday reporting. Thank you. A man convicted of murder is expected to walk out of prison at any moment today. Mark Carver spent the last 8 years behind bars, accused of killing UNC Charlotte student Ira Yarmolenko in 2008. Yesterday, Channel 9 was there as a judge ruled Carver did not get a fair trial. Channel 9's Ken Lemon has followed this case for the past 11 years. He now joins us live at the Gaston County Jail. And Ken, this is where Carver could take his first steps as a free man today.
That's correct. His attorney now has to fill out paperwork to have him transferred from corrections from the prison over to here, the Gaston County Jail, where his supporters are ready to go ahead and post that $100,000 bond. I saw him last here 11 years ago, right after he was arrested for the murder of Ira Yarmolenko. The UNC Charlotte student was strangled and her body was found next to her car on the banks of the Catawba River. Carver and his cousin were fishing nearby. A jury convicted Carver of the murder in 2011, though Carver said he never saw Yarmolenko. Yesterday, a judge said that testing of DNA on her car was doubtful at best. That DNA was the only thing connecting Carver to the murder. One of the jurors who found him guilty in 2011 said he didn't know about that shaky DNA. He says he's changed his mind and he would love to change his verdict. If you had an opportunity today to say something to the judge, what would you say?
Set him free. I believe he probably really shouldn't have been charged.
Now, the district attorney says that he will appeal that judge's decision to try to uphold that conviction in this case. He says if he loses that appeal, then he will retry the case.
Now, Ken, you have also been in contact with Yarmolenko's family throughout this process. What did they think of the judge's order for this retrial and to release Carver from his life sentence?
You can only imagine that they're upset about this right after that conviction of Mark Carver 2011. Ira Yarmolenko's brother told me that he thought justice was served. I spoke with him this morning. He said he did not want to talk about this case until he read that judge's order. But now this raises a whole lot more questions about the death of his sister.
Thank you, Ken. Well, today the world pausing to remember D-Day, 75 years after the historic invasion turned the tide of World War II. Hundreds of veterans gathered in Normandy for the anniversary of the largest combined land, air, and naval operation in military history. The day's event began with a lone piper, marking the moments the first soldiers stepped ashore. The president later told U.S. veterans that they are the pride of the nation.
You are among the very greatest Americans who will ever live. You are the pride of our nation. You are the glory of our republic. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
And look at this. President Trump also took a moment to shake hands with a North Carolina veteran who helped lead the invasion. Ray Lambert was front row for today's ceremony. He is 98 years old now, but when he was 23, he was a medic with the 1st Infantry Division and one of the first wave to land at Omaha Beach. He was wounded 3 times that day, but he managed to treat several others before passing out from a loss of blood and a broken back.
And I will, this time, probably be looking at things from a little different point of view, knowing that I have to, when I leave there this time, to come back home, that I'll be telling my friends and many of my men goodbye.
Well, Lambert was awarded several Silver Stars and Purple Hearts for taking part in the invasions of North Africa and Sicily. As we honor our veterans, the VA Secretary just implemented what they call the most transformative law since the GI Bill. The Mission Act will allow the VA to pay for veterans to see non-VA doctors if they have to wait longer than 20 days or drive more than 30 minutes for health care at a VA facility. A VA spokesman says this could increase the number of veterans cared for as many as 2.1 million, up from around 500,000. We'll continue to bring you coverage throughout the day from Normandy on our free WSOC-TV news app. Let's take a live look outside. This is a live look over Charlotte. You can see the clouds rolling in there, and you can feel that moisture picking up as we track the chance for storms. Meteorologist Jacqueline Shear tracking these showers coming our way for us from Severe Weather Center 9.
Yeah, you know, we're definitely not the only ones dealing with this system here. Here's a look right now at our National Satellite and Radar Network, and it is a very slow-moving, low-pressure system that'll push into our area over the next few days and cause some impacts. But right now, causing a lot of issues for the Midwest and even all the way down to Texas. We have some tornado watches and warnings in other parts of the country, flood issues as well. Fortunately for right now, we can see on early warning Doppler 9, not really dealing with too much. It's just starting to get into our area, starting to push in with some light rain. And light rain for today, at least, is pretty much all we'll see. But this pattern sticks around for a while with a lot of rain on the way. This is just Friday. Take a look at how much rain we're dealing with. And unfortunately, Friday is not even the worst day of the weekend with a lot of rainy days on the way. We're going to time them all out and take a look at how much rain you can expect in your area coming up in just a few minutes.
Breaking news out of New York. 1 cadet died and nearly 24 others are hurt after an accident involving armored personnel carriers. It happened near a training site at West Point, about 60 miles north of New York City. The injured are recovering in the hospital, but officials have not said if any of them are in good condition. The truck is barely visible there through the brush in the woods. You can see a lot of activity. It is not clear what caused the tactical vehicle to flip, and military officials are investigating. Turning to more breaking news now, police arrested a man accused of killing a young mother in West Charlotte. Natrone McDougald is due in court today on murder charges. Police say that he shot and killed Monica Smith on May 25th inside of her apartment on Catherine Simmons Drive. She is a former Fort Bragg soldier and leaves behind an 8-year-old son. Investigators have not released a motive in the case. A mother and her 3 children were driving down I-85 when someone started shooting a gun and hit their window. A close call. But now, the accused gunman has been caught. This morning, we learned police charged Devante Thomas. They say that about 2 weeks ago, he got into an argument at a gas station, followed the other driver, and started shooting. Well, that mom and her kids, they were caught in the crossfire. A driver in Union County took off from a frantic traffic stop, hit a deputy's car, went airborne, and flipped. All of this, that's what is left of that Chevy Camaro. Look at that damage. The sheriff's office says a deputy tried to stop the driver around 3:30 this morning right near Wingate University. The driver took off going about 120 miles an hour. He went airborne after taking a ramp to get onto US 74 in Monroe. You can see there's a look at that deputy's car, the bumper on the ground. The sergeant had some minor injuries, but thankfully will be okay. A man accused of setting a fire at the Cabarrus County Courthouse will face a judge again today. Deputies arrested Brock Carricker yesterday. He is facing several charges, including arson and larceny. Police say Carricker set a small fire inside of a probation officer's office at the courthouse. The damage will cost about $25,000. With mass shootings becoming more and more common, a sight like this would scare anyone. That is a man walking in Winston-Salem. He has an AK-47 in each hand. At least one person called 911 yesterday worried that something terrible was going to happen. But police say that man was on the way to turn in the guns after finding them at a construction site.
It was a huge relief. I mean, it was both really fascinating because you think, where did those guns come from?
Well, police say that both guns were loaded and stolen out of Avery County. Officers say one was rusted, so it's unclear how long they were around and had been taken.
A lot of rainy days ahead on the forecast, plus some issues to deal with that severe weather. We'll take a look coming up after the break.
Plus, this Charlotte boy going through so much heartbreak is getting a gift unlike any other.
He's going to remember this forever.
The special assembly set up by his friends for a heartwarming surprise.
Weather on WSOC is driven by Toyota of North Charlotte, I-77, exit 23, where big city low prices are just a click away.
we needed this, basically. With everything that just happened, this is something that we needed.
A special moment for a Charlotte boy who is going through so much. This is Nijah, a fourth grader at Winterfield Elementary School, who tragically lost his father. It shocked his mentor and his friends, who had no idea what he was struggling with. So yesterday they gave him a gift he will never forget. The officer and fellow classmates organized a special assembly honoring the fourth grader and his twin sisters. There, he presented awards to all of them for their hard work in school. Then, a surprise.
What this young man does not know is I have one more special reward for him. On behalf of the Charlotte Police Department, the staff here at Winterfield Elementary, we would like for your entire family to go to Great Wolf Lodge for an overnight stay at the motel and the water park and have as much fun as you can.
Officer Teague, his longtime mentor. Today, Nijah's twin sisters will celebrate their 9th birthday, and their mother said she'd been planning something special for them with her husband and said yesterday's surprise was right on time but bittersweet. Well, we want to thank all of you who took the time to stop by our studios yesterday and helped us and the Panthers tackle hunger in our community. People of all ages, even Sir Purr donated to our 9 food drive. They brought trunks full of food, massive boxes filled with canned vegetables, fruit, and soup. It is all to make sure kids don't go hungry this summer. Now, you can still donate. We have drop-off locations at Showmars, Ashley Home Store, and ER Plumbing. Head on over to 9fooddrive.com for more details. Now, take a look at this. It's a sad sight. A memorial for World War II veterans was overgrown with weeds yesterday morning. Now, thankfully, crews started to clean up outside of the Burke County Courthouse. Jason Seidel's grandfather served in World War II, and once he learned of the mess, his group, Let's Act Burke County, along with other volunteers, started cleaning.
I know everybody gets busy, but the reality is this needs to be taken care of. It is a little bit disgraceful, but it's also, you know, this is the greatest generation.
Volunteers say they are grateful they could clean things up the day before today's anniversary of D-Day. Let's get a look outside with meteorologist Jacqueline Shear. We're clear in some spots, but some spotty showers in others.
Yeah, you know, we are seeing a little bit of that drizzle out there, and hey, it just doesn't look like a great Thursday out there. A lot of cloud cover as we're seeing those storm clouds rolling into the picture. But right now we are at 83 degrees. Even with that cloud cover, starting to see those temperatures climbing during the day. Our temperatures are really staying very consistent and about on par with where they should be for this time of year, in about the mid to low 80s all throughout this 7-day forecast. But the 7-day forecast also very wet, and that's really the key of it here. As we're pushing through today, just some scattered showers throughout, a lot in the high country, as well as some in our South Carolina counties, as well as Union County. We'll be seeing a little bit of shower activity. The rest will just be very, very scattered here. We're not talking about that severe weather potential today. The worst that we'll see is maybe a weak thunderstorm or two. And that's about the whole story. But here is a look at today. We're just not ruling out those showers really at any point, but thinking they get a little bit more consistent by the time we get into the evening. Very humid day. You will definitely feel that, and you'll definitely notice just how long this rain lasts all the way through the weekend, really, with very few breaks, especially on Saturday. It's looking like at this point. As we get into Sunday, still a lot of that wet weather here, and that'll stick around all the way through Monday and even into Tuesday. So we are in this kind of for the long haul here. Don't expect to see much sunshine over the next few days. Here's a look at Threat Tracker, though. Heavy rain, really the big story, really throughout the next few days, all the way through the weekend. That'll be what we're talking about most. We're going to take a look at those numbers in just a second. Damaging wind is possible, especially if you get one of those weak thunderstorms, but that's about as intense as it gets. We're not even really looking at much of a hail risk out there. But take a look at these rain totals as they stack up over the next few days, and by the time we get to Tuesday, we're talking about picking up maybe 4 inches, maybe even more in the Charlotte area, with 2 to 3 inches in the high country. So this is going to be a big rain maker here for the next few days here, and you definitely want to be prepared for that. Any areas that you have that maybe aren't ready for that extra water, you might want to get them ready. But the good news is that we have been a little bit below average as far as rainfall is concerned, and we actually have seen about 25 days of no measurable rain. So if this was going to happen, a week of rain, well, at least it happened at a time that we can handle it a little bit better.
Way to look at the bright side of the dreariness to come. Thanks, Jacqueline. Well, next, violence and video games. The new research shedding light on how the two may be more connected than you think. Researchers released another new study suggesting violent behavior is linked to violent video games. Ohio State University researchers surveyed 200 children ages 8 to 12. Now, some played a game involving a weapon and others played a non-violent version. Researchers found kids who played the violent version were more likely to touch a real gun and more likely to pull the trigger. We've investigated the health effects of video games before, most recently just last month, and we spoke with a college student who became addicted to video games. We also spoke to a mother whose son took his life after a game addiction. YouTube is cracking down on users who promote discrimination. The company announced on Wednesday it'll ban accounts connected to white supremacist content. That includes those that promote Nazism and try to deny historic events like the Holocaust and the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre.
Taking a look outside right now, a lot of dark, cloudy skies, and that's sticking around for a while. We'll have another look at your 7-day forecast coming up after the break.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's Bo time.
Well, Game 3 of the Calder Cup Finals went the right way for the Charlotte Checkers. They were in Chicago for Game 3 last night. Julian Goche gave the Checkers a 1-0 lead in the first period. Then goals by Jake Bean and Patrick Brown made it 3-0 in the third period. Chicago scored their first goal of the night, but Martin Natchez nailed it for the Checkers. 4-1, your final score. Checkers lead the series now 2-1. Game 4 tonight at 8 in Chicago. Good luck to them. The Toronto Raptors are continuing to play strong in their first NBA Finals, and once again, they lead the Golden State Warriors in the series. Steph Curry played his heart out last night in California, scoring a playoff career high, 47 points. Oh, but Klay Thompson was out. Warriors coach Steve Kerr expects him on the court tomorrow night for Game 4. Kawhi Leonard scored 30 and helped the Raptors to a 123-109 win. They now lead the series 2-1. Tip-off tomorrow night is at 9 o'clock. You could watch that right here on Channel 9. And nice to be indoors because it's not looking so great outside moving forward.
No, not until Wednesday do we have a dry day. So it's really sticking around here for a while. A lot of soggy days and a lot of days of just consistent rainfall in some areas. So that's what we'll be tracking through the weekend and into next week. But of course, this is kind of good news as we're getting into those summer months to see a little bit more rain. It'll just put a big damper on any weekend plans you might have.
Okay, so you might just need to make some alternative plans.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Jacqueline. And thank you all so much for making your choice for news this midday. Join us for Eyewitness News starting at 5. We will see you then. Have a great afternoon.
WSOC-TV is a Cox Media Group station.